Hi everybody, I'm Erica. I'm one of the moderators here in the group, and I just want to come on and give you guys a tutorial on how I make my foolproof cake pops. Maybe you'll give this a try and maybe it'll resolve all the issues you've had with cake pops. So let's start it. The things that you will need is 1 box of cake mix. I've tried with my scratch cake mix and it just does not work for me, so I found that this works the best for me. So I'm going to use, I had a French vanilla on hand, so this is the one that I'm going to use today. So I do follow the instructions that are on the box. The only thing that I eliminate is the oil. So I do not put oil in my cake pops. So we're going to use the 1 cup of water, the 3 eggs. We're also going to use applesauce. They say use unsweetened, but I use whatever I have on hand, so I just happen to have sweetened. It works fine. I use sour cream, and I use vanilla flavoring. So I don't put the oil in the cake, so the sour cream and the applesauce replaces the moistening agent, I guess you can say, within the cake so that the cake pops will remain moist. So we're going to get started. So I'm going to pour my 1 cup of water in here. In my mixer. I'm going to add my 3 eggs. And with the applesauce and the sour cream, I don't really measure, but I'll just go ahead and say 2 heaping tablespoons, I guess. But just put your some in there, you know. 2 to 3 tablespoons should work just fine. Couple of tablespoons of sour cream. This is what will help keep the cake moist since we aren't using the oil in this mixture. I find that the oil in cake pops always tend to make my cake slide off the sticks. I always have issues with cracking and things of that nature, but I don't have it with this recipe. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla flavoring. Maybe a tablespoon is enough. And then I'm going to add my cake mix. And we're going to let this mix for a little bit, a couple minutes. How it looks. I usually let it be for a couple of minutes. So while that's mixing, I have my cake pan here. You can use whatever kind of pan you want. I kind of tend to use a bigger one because that means that it'll be more shallow when I put the mix in there. Therefore, it won't have to bake for too long. So it usually bakes for like 25 minutes. I believe this is a 12-inch round cake pan. I have it foil lined because I don't use any oil when I'm making cake pops because I don't want my cake pops to fall off the stick. So I line it with foil and I bake it in there. And I bake it for 25 minutes. 20 to 25 minutes. It really depends on your oven. You just have to watch it. How that looks. here. We'll add it to our foil lined pan. It there. It's ready to go in the oven. I already have my oven preheated, 350, and we're gonna put this in the oven. And while that's in the oven, well, I'll get the other things together and I'll be back in a second. So while we are waiting on the cake to come out of the oven, just want to let you know the other items that I will be using for the second portion of this. I have a 1-inch cookie scoop here. I use this so that all of my cake pops can be portioned the same. So I like them to be kind of, you know, about the same size. So I use a cookie scoop to portion them out. I have my candy melts here ready to go in the microwave. Today I am using the Make and Mold brand. This came from Hobby Lobby. I kind of prefer these over the Wilton brand. I feel like they melt a little bit better. But I had these on hand. But, you know, I also use all kinds of other stuff. I have the almond bark. I have the Wilton candy melts. I have the Merkin chocolate. You know, I use whatever. I have my cake pop sticks here. And I also have my silicone mat. So we're just going to wait on the cake to come out of the oven at this point. So my cake is baked. It's come out of the oven. And this is how it looks. It's nice and fluffy. So I'm just going to transfer this cake to my mixing bowl. And we're going to mix it on low speed for a couple of minutes. Let me see if I can do this without burning myself. I do put it in hot, because I wanted to be able to get to that Play-Doh-like consistency. I'm going to pause this while I get this in here. So I've gotten all my cake in the mixing bowl. I have my paddle attachment. And one of the good things that I like about this cake pop recipe, it doesn't require any frosting. So I don't add any frosting to my cake because that makes the cake fall off the sticks as well. So I'm just going to mix it on low for just a couple of minutes. Just so it gets to like that Play-Doh consistency that I like. What it's starting to look like now. You see that? It's starting to look like Play-Doh. And that's really exactly what I want. So that's the consistency that I want. See how it's pliable. Don't have to add any frosting to it. And no, I'm not wearing any gloves because nobody's going to be eating this. This is for tutorial purposes only. It'll just probably be for family or something. So I have my cookie scoop here. I have my silicone mat right here. And I'm going to start scooping. So depending on how many I do them one at a time, or sometimes I'll just portion them out. And then I'll just go back and roll them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do a dozen. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. So then at this point, I just take them. Oh, that needs a little bit more. At this point, I just take them and I start rolling them. It doesn't leave a mess on your hands like if you were using frosting or something like that. These do not require any type of, I guess you would say, binding agent. It doesn't require that. And then you just roll. Those are all kind of small. Quite as, I don't want it quite that small. Let's see. Just roll, roll, roll. It doesn't even take a long time. You don't really see like a lot of cracks or anything like that, but even if you see cracks, they still don't fall apart like if you were using like frosting or something in it, ganache or whatever people use. Maybe you should give this recipe a try. I mean, it works for me. You may like it, you may not, but you should try it and see. Don't knock it till you try it. That's what they say, right? That's 4. I didn't really portion them that well since they're really not for anybody. This is my first time doing any type of video. I'm terrified to go live, so maybe I'll work my way up to doing that. But for now, this will have to work. I've never, ever, ever, never have I ever dipped in candy apples, so I plan on trying that this week as well. I actually got my water boiling so I can get my apples cleaned. You guys have inspired me so much. I want to try all kind of things, so I didn't take any orders this week. I said I was going to try to do some things that I hadn't done before. I'll probably actually try Joy's cookie recipe. Sugar cookies, decorated cookies is not anything that I've ever gotten into either, but I kind of want to give it a try. I'm not sure that I'll add it to my menu, but I'll give it a try just to see if I can do it. So hopefully you guys will give these cake pops a try. I know we had a post late last week asking what treat were people most afraid of tackling, and cake pop was like the #1 answer. It's like, wow, these little things, I used to call them devil pops, and I had actually taken them off of my menu for 2020, but I had a friend that she just would not take no for an answer. So since I wouldn't take no for an answer, she made me do cake pop, she made me do pretzels, she made me do strawberries, and those are all things that I had removed from my list. I said I wasn't doing any more dip treats. That stuff drove me crazy. Just a couple more to go. As you can see, it's mess free. I have nothing on my hands. It's not messy, as if you're like when you're dealing with the cake pops and you're trying to add frosting. It's not like that, and that's another plus for me, because I don't like anything on my hands. When I'm in this kitchen baking, I don't even have my wedding ring or anything like that on. I feel like that's so unsanitary. But then again, rolling these cake pops in my hands is very unsanitary too. But like I said, these aren't for anybody. I'm just doing them to get my feet wet and doing these videos and stuff like that. I just like to share what I've learned with others. So I'm trying to broaden my horizons in that area. Oh, and also this is, of course, I did not come up with this recipe. I got this recipe from a young lady. I don't remember what her name was, but her YouTube was her name was Cakepop, and all she did was cake pops, and she shared this recipe back in the day when Periscope was like the thing. So I got this recipe from her, and I've been using it ever since. So there are cake pop balls all ready to go. They look good. I'm going to insert my sticks with no chocolate. I don't care for that lip of frost. I mean that lip that forms when you dip the stick in chocolate and then put it in. I don't care for that. I kind of like mine to be smooth all the way around. So doing it this way does not require you to have to dip your stick in chocolate. I just had these sticks from some other order that I had, so I'm just using them to get rid of them. I think I did like Elmo something, Sesame Street or something like that, where I used these a while ago. So, and there you have it. So I'm actually going to pop these in the refrigerator for a few minutes while I get my chocolate melted. That's just about all the time they need. I don't leave them in longer than that. So I'm back and I'm ready to start dipping. I got my chocolate melted here. I always melt in a glass bowl because the heat from the glass helps the chocolate to melt, so it kind of prevents from overheating your chocolate. So I have no rhyme or reason to this. These are just some colors that I had from some other previous projects. So this is just what we're going to go with today. I got my cake pops out. I had them in the refrigerator for about 5 minutes. They don't really have to be cold or anything like that. But I did let them sit in there for a few minutes. And then we're going to just start dipping. Just take it, turn it, spin. Let the excess strip off. I've never been the one to have my cake pops standing up, so I always put them down. I've always had a fear of them like falling off the stick, so I never tried it again. So I prefer them down. I like to decorate them better with them standing down versus standing up. Sometimes I can be a little bit impatient and I'll sit it down too soon, but like I said, these aren't for anyone, so it doesn't really matter. I just want to show you guys the process. See how you can get the excess chocolate off and the cake pops not falling off the stick or moving or anything like that, which is why I love this recipe. And the other reason I stopped using the oil is because every time I would coat my cake pops, I would get like oil coming out of it somehow, like out of the top, like where the stick and the cake pop meet. Sometimes it would be oil, like little oil, I don't know, drops, look like water drops, but it would be oil coming out of the top of the cake pop, and I didn't like that. Cake not falling off the stick. No problems here. So what do you think? Do you think you guys will give this a try? I hope you do. It might just save your cake popping life. Take it and turn it. Make sure you get it all the way up to the top of the stick. Now see, if you had dipped the stick in before you put it in the cake pop, you would have like a little lip around the straw. And I don't really like that. Usually I will wipe that chocolate off of the top of the straw. But in this case, I'm not going to worry about it. Most of the time I'm covering that up with some sort of decoration or even a ribbon, so nobody's going to see that. I'm surprised I haven't had any type of thing go wrong. Every time I tried to do this, something always went wrong. Everything is just smooth sailing today. Number 6. Switch over to the white. See how that does. I didn't have that much white left, so but we're gonna still make it do what it do. Now that I'm looking at these, they probably would hold up well to standing up in the opposite way. I just prefer them down. I think they look so much cuter down with their little decorations and stuff. I don't have any decorations made for this. I'll probably just put a little drizzle or something on it. Some drizzle lines. I know people always have questions about doing drizzle lines, so maybe I'll give that a go. See, you can shake it, it's not falling off, not doing anything like that. Take it, turn it. Come on, y'all, let's get cake popping. Maybe after seeing this, you won't call them devil's pops anymore. I used to think cake pops were the devil, but I still don't really care for doing stuff like this, but it's not bad. I'll still try to get out of them as much as I can. Let's see, shake it, it's not falling off. Now, sometimes I do have issues with them cracking. Sometimes, not that often, maybe one or two will crack. Things happen sometimes. It's out of your control, nothing you can really do. Number 10. I usually tend to put them in a bowl, put the chocolate in a bowl like this to prevent from having to use so much chocolate, so you can just dip straight down. So it's much easier for me to just tilt the bowl and get full coverage that way, instead of having to use so much chocolate. So I tilt the bowl, drop it in, and spin it until it's completely covered. Turn it. There you have it. I'll probably just transfer this chocolate to a piping bag and just add a drizzle to it or something. So these cake pops have been sitting for about 5 minutes and they're now set up. And I didn't make any decorations for them, so we're just gonna do like a little drizzle. So you just cut a small hole in your piping bag. I always use disposable piping bags. And I use this aluminum foil because I'm lazy. I don't want to have to really clean anything. So just go. I always turn the cake pop so So I'm not really moving my arm or my hand or anything. I'm just turning cake pop. So I'm just rotating like this. Rotating. And all that excess is just dripping right onto aluminum foil. I'm just gonna roll this aluminum foil up and drop it right in the garbage. Got a little bubble on that one. I sat that one down too soon. It's got a little lip on it. But that's okay. If it was for a client, I would just trim that right on off. But we're not even gonna worry about that today. And there's the orange. Let's put some white on the orange ones. And I usually individually wrap all of my treats, pretzels, cake pops, Rice Krispie treats. Some people leave them out, I guess, for display, but I always wrap mine up individually because most people want to let them go home as like party favors. So I always try to wrap them all and put a cute little ribbon on it to match whatever the theme is. And there you have it. Cake pop. Not falling off the stick. It's nice and covered. Not perfect, but like I said, these are not for anybody. And that's it. Cake pops. Give it a try.